In this episode, the windows are glued in, the cabin top is glued down, and I dare to try my hand at the art of upholstery. What could possibly go wrong? My workload seems to now involve jumping all over the place. The dash layout is planned, as is the ducting and positioning of electrical and the electronic components. Down below, the head and vanity units have been installed, along with the shower, and the floor is down, and the shower drain all but finished. Shower water flows into the sump and is pumped out by a Jabsco diaphragm pump located on the other side of the bulkhead. Sump strainer here that fits into there, and is easily lifted out for cleaning. Under wraps here we have a couple of Honda 4-stroke outboards, 115 horsepower. We could probably get away with a couple of 80s or even 60s, but opted for the 115s for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I can keep the revs and the noise down. And most importantly, they have fly-by-wire controls. None of those clunky cables that break or seize up over time. Meanwhile, I've been very busy doing the electrical wiring. The dash is basically set up, covered with dust at the moment, but it's going to have a big clean up and get covered until the boat's finished. And down below here, the battery management system is under this mess here, under the seat, and it is accessible from behind. You need so many tools to do electrical wiring. But basically there we have it. We've got a 3 kVA inverter, the charge controller for the solar panels, distribution board, shunt, and various other bits and pieces that are part of the Victron BMS, which of course stands for Battery Management System. There's a couple of big lithium batteries at the back there, a couple of AGMs for the starter motor will be at the front. Yeah, still got a bit of work to do here. But as you'll notice in these downstairs, these quarter berths, well, they're actually almost full berths. We've got some wall lining in place. They're both just about finished. And that's Jeanette's workroom for doing the wall linings. This bedroom here, of course, will have soft vinyl lining. And under that cover is the galley. And the main bulkhead there is the same wood grain going right across. Still needs to be trimmed off. And I've just been informed that the windows have all but arrived, so that'll be a big job next week putting those in, and then at last I can get the cabin top in place. And I think it's time for a big clean up. The windows have finally arrived. They were ordered 6 months ago and they're only a month late, but the big thing is they fit almost perfectly. They're a CAD cut, no templates used, so you do take a bit of a risk, but we got away with it. Tomorrow I'll glue them in and get the side windows in place. So that's progress. Around the inside lip of the window frame, we place a self-adhesive foam rubber dam. This strip acts as a uniform spacer and also prevents the window adhesive from oozing through to the inside of the boat. With regard to the windscreen panels, I actually preferred to have only three, but the designer insisted that aesthetically, five would look much better. What do you think? The day after gluing in the windows, it's necessary to mask off and backfill the edges. By the way, the product used is Bostik 7008, a specialty windscreen adhesive. The 7 deck hatches are now ready to be installed. How often in the past have we been confronted by leaking deck hatches? Do it once, do it properly is the saying. So with liberal amounts of adhesive sealant and stainless steel screws, the deed is done, never to be revisited. Well, maybe in about 15 years' time. After being in exile out the back of the shed for a year, the cabin top at last has returned to the fold. And the final sanding undercoats were applied, and eventually the finishing coats. In all the excitement, videoing the hoisting and placing of the cabin top was overlooked. Sorry about that. But the operation involving 5 personnel went like clockwork. No damage done, no blood spilt. Now to tab the cabin top in place. This required quite a few layers of fiberglass. Not an easy job when trying to avoid dripping resin onto finished surfaces. If I'd put the cabin top on earlier, it would have been even more difficult to glue in the windows because of the overhang on the sides. With that job done, it was time to glue on the battens to attach the soft vinyl panels. These would be secured in place using heavy-duty Velcro. I used 5mm plywood for the panels, then glued on a layer of 6mm foam, followed by the vinyl itself. In the next episode, the anti-fouling paint is applied, the deck tread is laid, and yes, the boat is loaded onto the transporter and the journey to the sea begins.
That's all for today, folks.
See you next week.
Make sure to like and subscribe.